1. Blog Talk Radio.
He took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. By some, he's been called controversial.
I'll keep my freedom, I'll keep my guns, try to keep my money and my religion too. Now, keep in mind that some of my guests have been approached by, Homeland Security or FBI saying, why are you going on the Clay Douglas show?
My message to those guys, if they're listening this morning, is go get a cup of coffee. Maybe you'll learn something.
We both took the same oath, to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't recall there being an expiration date on that. I'm going to keep my big VA, keep my friends the same, keep the government out of my business, and y'all can keep the change.
He is the free American, Clay Douglas.
We know what we need. We know who to blame.
Catch the Free American Hour, weekdays at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern.
I'll keep the USA and y'all can keep the change.
For the podcast and more details, visit www.freeamerican.com or catch the podcast by phone by calling 832-999-8621.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm supposed to have a guest on today from the Western Journalism Center. Unfortunately, he hasn't been answering his phones or what we will, but we'll try it again. We'll see what we can get. Floyd Brown is scheduled to be my guest today. And, that says an invalid phone number. Oh, really? Hold on. Okay. And, of course, I can't get back to my email to get everything because I moved my email over. But let's try this over here. Excuse me, folks. We don't know what's going on here. I dialed a number. I don't know whether we're having computer problems. Of course, we are having computer problems.
With every one of them, what's the deal?
That's what it came back. I got no idea. It's been all been working. And thankfully, my other thing is working here. And I'm trying to get all the information I had up for him. We had to do this on, shifted everything over here at like the last minute. And I don't know what's happening here. I know the number was correct when I got it. I'll try to add him again because I had his number in. I double checked the number twice. And this was it.
El número marcado no existe. Por favor, compruébelo y marque de nuevo. Si necesita
Anybody
ayuda,
translate that for
marque
me?
123. Si llama desde un móvil de Vodafone o 607-123-000 si llama desde otro teléfono y nuestro servicio de atención al cliente le atenderá inmediatamente.
Sorry about that, folks. Don't know what happened to that guest. Don't know what happened. It was supposed to be Western journalism. And I don't know exactly where I want to go now. I'm working on a new set of articles. Because, frankly, what has been happening... Matter of fact, let me try to do that. Let me see if we can pull somebody in here to talk about some of the things that are happening that I missed out on the other day. Let me see if I can contact.
Good morning there, shortstop.
Good morning, Grandma. Listen, my guest turned into a Spanish radio station or something like that. But I've been getting emails from you all morning, so I thought I'd just recruit you to be on my show today.
Oh, I'd be happy too. I got something to send you quickly.
All right, you can.
And this is what I am putting out to my people. And this is going out right now.
Okay, the last I received from you, and let's see, I might have something on here. Okay. Yeah, okay, the Bush child sex cover-up. Now, I interviewed and I got to be friends with Kathy O'Brien, who...
May I go to the bathroom, and let's not go into Kathy O'Brien. We've got to deal with the current problem. I'll be right back.
All right, dear. All right. We're talking with V.K. Durham, who is the director and holder of the Durham Trust, which is supposedly worth lots of money, but it's being held up by the Federal Reserve. It's being controlled by governmental forces, and we'll get input and information on that. Now, last year I did something about Mark Taylor, who was pretty much kidnapped, taken from an emergency room, put in a psychiatric center or a halfway house or something like that, and basically drugged. Now, they tried to do this to VK, who I will refer to as Grandma. They tried to do that to her. And now they have taken somebody that a lot of the information you've been putting out over the last 20 years has come through Ray Lynn Allen's rumormills.com, I guess. Is that correct?
No, it's rumormillnews.com.
Rumormillnews.com. Okay. And
let me say something. It's not a psychiatric center. They wish it had been a psychiatric center. But I'm sorry, boys. You've got royally there.
well, what I've said they tried to do to me, and I've seen them do this to other people. Mark Taylor, they drugged them. They put them in a facility and started feeding them drugs, and they lost all ability to think or guide themselves, and so
well, they didn't do that to me, so don't lead me down that.
No, ma'am. You got away. You walked away. You got out of it. You fought. You kept it together, and I really appreciate the strength it took to do that.
It took a lot of strength. I had a pastor and his son and another individual to assist me in getting out of there. And they were absolutely appalled at the treatment and the verbal abuse that I was being heaped upon me by Mr. Valentine's associates there at Aspen Manor. And they said, I don't know how you stood up under that. And I said, well, it wasn't easy. But at least I did stand up, you know. And we got away. I was in fear for my life, as was the sheriff's department here. The sheriff's department and many people were afraid for my life. They were very concerned that I would not get out of there alive.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Angel.
Are we there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm still right here with you and listening to you.
Something has happened here, and I don't know how many of you are on Skype. And Clay, I'm going to just get into this right now.
All right.
Okay, I don't know how many of our listeners are on Skype. But we have discovered a security breach and some computer hijacking. Now, there's a number. Write this number down, folks. If you're not, if you got a pen, just write it down. And if you have Skype and you're showing a strange number that's coming up when you make calls, and that call being that number being 661, 380 3000, and that is an overseas number. But the nearest that I can figure out, and we've tracked it, it's coming out of Palmdale, California, which would be there at those military bases. What we figure is in January, Mr. Valentine up at Aspen Manor brought in a group of Navy SEALs who were computer experts, communications experts. And at that time, that's when this computer was hijacked. And I suspicion many of your numbers were hijacked also, and your Skypes were hijacked also. This was discovered from my Frontier service Friday, I think it was. And we have reported it. I've reported to local law enforcement, who reports everything on us to the FBI. And we believe this involves national security. So far, it's now probably gone on up to Homeland Security. And it should rightly do so, because none of us are involved in money laundering or drug laundering or sex rings. None of us are involved in anything like that. And it's and I'm talking about alternative sex, where young men are recruited to indulge in the sexual proclivities of those up at Aspen Manor.
You're talking about this Aspen Manor. Now what is that?
That's where Raylyn Allen has been taken. I got away, barely, by the skin of my teeth. And now he has romance, enticed, lured Raylyn Allen up there. Why has he done that? Because of what her husband, who her husband was, who was Colonel Rusbacher. Rusbacher was an associate of my husband, Colonel Herman. Colonel Herman held a Contra account. Rusbacher had the Marcos gold that they had taken over to Austria. That was put in Bavarian accounts, Austrian accounts, Swiss accounts, and as I've been led to believe, by Raylyn. And she's published that many, many times on Rumor Mill. So all of you who have been familiar with following Rumor Mill, you know that. You can go back to the archives and find it. So anyway, what was Gunther Rusbacher doing? He was money laundering. he was money laundering through the savings and loans out there in St. Louis, Missouri, in Clayton. There's a similar where he was writing his own financial statements, as does Gene Valentine. And those financial statements were backed by nothing. But you can get, I think it's up to, I forget what the percentage rate is said, but you can get about 70% on those things. It's really high as to the money that those financial statements can generate. And they're not backed by anything. This is what Ray Lynn's husband was into. Well, Mr. Valentine is indulging in the same thing. He writes his own financial spreadsheet and impresses the world with them when they're backed by nothing. Except what they've tried to get control over is my trust so that they can back their mess. And now, when I got away, they've brought Ray Lynn Allen up here on the hill at Aspen Manor. And I'm not so certain that she's not actively a part of that. But I will give her the benefit of the doubt.
Well, now, they tried to make Gene Valentine, using this financial backing, basically, I'll take care of you, I'll take care of things, all you got to do is sign this and that, sign that.
And you don't have to worry about a thing. We'll get your medicals taken care of. We'll have your teeth taken care of. We'll get your back Social Security benefits, disability benefits that are due since 1983, because we've got the records where your work histories were wiped. We will get your husband's military benefits that have been denied you for his 2 20-year terms of service with the U.S. Armed Forces. And all of this, and while you're here, it's carte blanche. You don't have to worry about a thing. You'll have the money, you'll have a chauffeur, we'll have a chef prepare the foods for you. They go to hell if they didn't provide. They filed an eviction notice on me, an unlawful detainer, down here in the magistrate's court, after I wouldn't let them sexually abuse me with their alternate lifestyle. On February the 5th, when I caught him indulging in alternative sex activities or playing with another man's genitals, which violated the trust provisions of the Morals Trust. Do you know that he even has taken my secretary of the trust and of the corporations hostage?
Hostage?
He has conspired with his Virginia attorneys, conspired with the Iowa attorney to put a conservatorship or guardianship on my secretary, Jacqueline Winchell. And I'm not allowed to communicate with her in any fashion. Well, Jackie wanted to fire him. And I said, no, nobody's going to fire Gene but me. But I fired him after I caught him indulging in alternative.
Oh, shoot. Recorded live.
All right, I'm just picking up the second half of this thing on another channel that we're on, Grandma, that's all.
So anyway, he was terminated. Well, the attorney in Iowa, now this is what I find interesting. The attorney in Iowa, by working with Gene Valentine and his attorney and Carl Taylor here in West Virginia, they wouldn't allow the officers of the corporation or of the trust to sign off. But I'm not allowed to communicate that.
Now, Grandma, let me, been talking about the trust for years, and we've been following this to a certain extent. But you are not able, as the owner of this trust, as the controller of this trust,
With the lady with the blue ink.
you have been unable to, to get your own daily expenses. Your overhead.
That's right.
Now, wait a minute. Let me phrase this whole thing before, because I want to phrase this whole thing to get a picture of this. You haven't been able to access this. The Bush and the Clintons and the Federal Reserve do not want you to have access, or any patriot organization to have access to this kind of funding. So you've been basically put in the cold and sent out to dry, and just go out there and die somewhere. Here, we'll provide you a nice little rest home here on this manor on the hill here that we'll take care of you in, and we'll keep you here. And it wouldn't have been just a matter of time before they started slipping drugs to you. This is the way they do it with ordinary people, not just people that have control or access to potentially trillions of dollars. And that's what the Durham Trust is, isn't it? Potentially?
No, it is. It is. There's no potentially to it. Now, the reason why I say that it is because they have used my collateral without my authorization, i.e. Jamie Dimon, Federal Reserve, all of them. That's why Jamie's got his tit in her ringer right now. All of them have used this to try to bring in a new world order, a new financial order, and unfortunately, the rule of law is in place. They have never been able to show the source of their collateral. They have never been able to show a good, clean, clear, marketable title to that collateral because I did not sign for it. And this is why everybody's got their problem. I don't have to prove up my trust. They've already proven it for me. I don't have to prove up the value. They have more than proven it up for me by issuing out these damn derivatives that's bankrupting the global community. I don't have to prove a thing. They proved it for me. That's the way I feel about it. I don't have to prove anything. And I'm reaching a stage where I'm sitting here and I'm watching all of these big investors out there investing in everything. Oh my goodness, we got $1 trillion in this, and we got $1 trillion. And the damn fools don't realize that in Germany and across Europe, they were using worthless money to heat their stoves and cook their foods in World War II. And this is the same thing that's getting ready to happen here. And everybody is saying, go, Granny, go. You can stay there. You can be a... We'll just keep you hostage, Granny. We'll keep you hostage. And we'll go out there and make all this money. But you don't realize, Clay, is their money's going to be useless.
Grandma, I mean, they done this to Howard Hughes, didn't they? I mean, they...
Oh, yeah. Howard and I were friends. And Howard and Russell were business associates. And Howard and Russell and Cecilia Valley, that was the original Cosmos. And original Cosmos Seafood Energy Marketing Ltd. And that is a Durham Trust Corporation, which has been retired for many years. But they used it to snooker Spain and Italy and Greece, Germany.
When you say they used it, who are you speaking?
I'm talking about the Eckers used it. And the Eckers used it through the Clintons. When Bill Clinton went before the Council on Foreign Relations in 1997-98, that's when he restructured the global banking system. He sent the Eckers out to do a black ops and put out all of this bogus paper.
Now, let me, we've got a lot of new people listening. that haven't been doing this for the last 30 years like you and I.
I'm going to get me a piece of cake and a cup of water.
All right, you do that, dear.
You go ahead and keep talking.
Okay, the Eckers had started a counterculture underground patriotic magazine called Contact. And they were really getting into the patriot movement, getting people's money, and they were getting their orders from Hatan, who is a 7-foot-tall lizard orbiting the Earth in some spaceship. And they, good propaganda, folks, is 90% of the 90% truth. That way they don't screw up. They just lead you in that wrong direction with the other 10%. That's kind of what happened with the Eckers and the Clintons. But Clinton was high up. You know, as governor, he protected all the incoming drug shipments that were being sent in by the CIA and Mossad, according to Colonel Edward P. Catolo, under Operation Watchdog. And this was the same time Iran-Contra was going on, and the Patriot movement was starting to take place, and Grandma was starting to talk about using the Durham Trust for the good of the American people. And she was featured in Contact, and then she was featured in Rumor Mill, and maybe it's just a coincidence. As soon as there is a movement started, someone comes in to control it. Someone comes in to bribe the owners. We just lost Bob Chapman because he hadn't gotten treatment for his cancer, proper treatment for his cancer, and he was pretty much held and supported and run by a business partner, according to his daughter, who went over and rescued. So this is happening. They're going after anyone in the Patriot movement, anyone that's got some access. You had access. Now they're trying to take away your access by taking away Ray Lynn.
Guess who was one of Bob Chapman's financial supporters? Gene Valentine.
So he was supporting somebody, but whoever was backing Bob Chapman or controlling all of the income subscriptions or whatever websites. I don't know what the I don't know if it's coming back. I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I'm on the mailing list, so I'll find out. But come on, they went after Bill Cooper. I mean, 2 weeks before we were going to do a deal together, start working together, they went after him. They went after me in 2004. And this last whole attempt with Gene Valentine went directly to you to try to. Who do they want to, if you can't get to your own funds, how do they plan on getting to the funds through you?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Gal Hodges, who is a white knight, who is another member that Gene is contributing to. Al's an attorney. He's a guru. You know what? You watch this. Here's Lyndon LaRouche. Gene has been contributing to Lyndon. He's been contributing to Lyndon to overthrow the office of the President of the United States.
Lyndon has run for president several times. I've met Lyndon. He does come up with some accurate information, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. But he was working with my husband there under Ronald Reagan. So was Leo Wanda. All of these men were working. All of this crap came up under the Reagan administration. And we've got nothing but organized crime here.
Well, I've said there's a couple of things that I can't tell you. Now, all of the drug shipments are being brought in by the CIA and the Mossad. So if the intelligence agencies are running the guns and the drugs,